You've tuned in to Angel Heart Radio, and I trust that you are watching us through Angel Heart Radio Facebook page, because that's where you can join in our conversation. And the conversation is going to be very, very lively today because I have two wonderful, wonderful guests. Rosemary Butterworth has been with me monthly recently, and Robbie Holz is here somewhere. Yes, she's coming on board. Isn't technology is wonderful? So we will welcome Robbie in a moment. I'm going to take this opportunity to remind everybody that these shows should never replace your legal, medical, nor professional advice, nor your own sound judgment. Robbie, welcome to you, way
Hi.
over there in the United States on the West Coast. Lucky, lucky woman.
Well, it's nice to be here. It's nice to be here with both of you. Hi, Rosemary.
Hi, Robbie. Lovely to see you, sweetheart.
You too. Yeah. I briefly lost my connection there for a second, but it worked. Here I am. So I knew I was supposed to be here with both of you. Oh, this is great. I'm excited.
Well, we're excited because you have very timely released a new book called Angels in Waiting, and there's a bit more to that title. Maybe you'd like to share it with us.
The full title is Angels in Waiting: How to Reach Out to Your Guardian Angels and Spirit Guides. And I think the timing is perfect. It surprised me that it took a little bit longer than I thought to get out, but I realize now that there was a definite timing to it, because it's how to overcome struggles and to achieve your desires with help from guardian angels and spirit guides. And I think now many, many people are really challenged in many ways, and it couldn't be more timely as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, definitely, Rob. I was saying to a lady yesterday, she was saying to me, "Oh, my mother won't let me come and see her, because of COVID and things, and she's not vaxxed." And I said, "Well, have you asked the angels, to fix the problem?"
Yeah.
So your book is really needed at the moment to help people.
Yeah. There's tremendous help available if we ask for it, because you both know this is a free will planet, and they will not intervene beyond certain circumstances unless we ask. And they give me the image of someone reaching up. Somebody needs to reach up before they're allowed to reach down, so to speak, and help us. But when we do, it's tremendous. And they've told me, you'll get a kick out of this. When I was writing the book, the guides were telling me, and the angels were telling me, it's like operating at 5 amps of power on your own. When you allow their assistance, it's like operating at 5,000 amps of power. Now, I had a co-writer in New York City, and she kept changing it to 500. She just couldn't believe that it was 5,000. And I'm like, "I'm serious, Judy, it's 5,000 amps of power." That's what they tell me. So there's a huge difference that it's really transformational. And I know you both have experienced this as well. When you allow their help, it is transformational. It's a big game changer. And this is why I wanted to get this information out, is to help people recognize your life can change tremendously if you allow this beautiful, loving, powerful assistance. So that's behind it.
And that's what we need. We need assistance. And
yes.
Because we get bogged down with the negative, right? So, and we don't need to. When you're working with angels, where's the negative gone?
Yeah. And people ask me, it doesn't have to just all be spiritual in nature that you ask for their help. It's the little things sometimes that really push us over the edge or create real problems. They're very well aware that they're happy to help with all aspects, But I think what's important for people to remember is that they are assisting, they are helping when you ask, but I think people think that it needs to be a certain way and in a certain time. And what's important to know is when you ask for their help, it's there, but they have certain laws that they're governed by. They will respond according to the highest good of all. And very importantly, your soul's intentions, desires. So you can ask them to help you win the lottery, but they won't do that if it's not your soul's intention. So, but they'll bring you abundance in other ways. So there's a lot of help that can be had. Just don't tell them how to do their job. They know better than you do what's needed and how best to bring it to you.
Yes.
The timing of your book, Robbie, is a classic example.
Yes.
You had time in mind, and yet obviously the angels had different ideas.
You know, and this just came to me now, Annette. No surprise, I'm sure. My intention was to get, our intention, Judy helped me write this. Our intention was to get this out, and it would have been in 2019. And I realize now, COVID hadn't happened yet. And so it took us 4 years, which is really a really long time for us. By the time of course it had to happen after this whole thing happened, because people are much more willing to listen now, but they also need the help more now than they did in 2019. So I understand the connection, but I had to, and I know that you guys are probably doing the same thing. We have to learn to just get the mind out of the way and let them work through us in the way that's best. And my mind kept saying, we should be done with this. We should be on to something else. And it's like, no, it takes what it takes. And so my guides are reassuring me, nope, you're on time. We don't want it out sooner. So I think, okay, they know better than I do.
Rosemary, I think of Annea's book too, that was released this year after 20 years.
Wow.
And yet Annea knows that it was released at the end of last year, but it's been perfect timing, and Annea herself says rereading parts of it are just so relevant for today.
It's so true. Things that you didn't think about before really make more sense now. They fit in. The pieces are fitting together much more easily in our minds. Yeah.
Definitely.
I'd like to welcome Jenny Laws to the show. Thank you for joining us. If you have some questions or comments, please write them down. And anyone else who might be watching, if you want to interact with Rosemary, Robbie and myself, please join us on Angel Heart Radio Facebook page.
Very good. Lovely to hear from them, and they're very welcome to ask us questions. We'd love to interact with them. Definitely. Definitely. Of course, this is a very, very special time in creation. And I keep hearing videos, you pick up your phone, there's another video sent to you, that we're moving into the golden age, and we need to release, fears, and we need to stay positive and things like this. And now your book is there to help us do that, which is wonderful. But I'd just like to mention to the viewers that we've been asked by one of the videos that came in, or one of the emails or texts, to meditate on the 21st of December at 7:40 on Eastern Standard Time. Okay, and we're to meditate for the earth, and we're to ask for peace. And I don't know what time that would be for you, Robbie.
I'm 3 hours behind. Yeah, that's very doable. Yeah.
Yep, good. And we're to look at the sky and feel the energies coming down and bring peace, plant peace, seeds of peace, love, all the qualities of love into the earth, as we've been asked to stand on the earth in bare feet and bring these qualities down. And I thought, that's a lovely thing to do for the earth's sake. At 7:40 on the 21st of December. If thousands of people, they're asking, bring these qualities of love. And I see them as seeds. That we plant seeds of love, the qualities of love, into the earth, and let the light germinate them.
That's beautiful.
And I was leading a meditation, and I always think that Sai Baba gives me what to say. And we were up there and floating, somewhere in space. And we connected to the qualities of love. But then as we came down, we were asked to imagine a garden and plant these seeds and let the light germinate them right round the world. And I thought that was a lovely thing to do. So we could do that on the 21st of December. Plant seeds of love.
Yeah. That's a beautiful image, isn't it? This planting the seeds in the light.
Yes.
Perfecting those, growing those seeds. Yeah. That's what we're here to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Rosemary, your meditations are available to people via YouTube.
Yes, they are. So if they Google that, they should be able to get onto that. And Michael's Messenger. And yes. So I love doing them. And it's really interesting, Robbie, because when you're leading a meditation, you have no idea where you're going.
Yeah.
And one word sort of follows the next word, the next minute we're way up there, in space.
Yeah.
And space is so black, and the most beautiful colours you can see when you're floating around in space.
Yeah.
It's so exquisite.
And you've been leading meditations forever, haven't you? I mean,
I think so.
long time. Yeah.
At my age, definitely.
Yeah. But I think you get better at over time, just letting it just flow out of you and not trying to control what comes out and just letting it be whatever it's going to be. Yeah.
That's right. You just sit there. I was teaching somebody this, and I said to her, because she was reading it, this meditation, she's a wonderful yoga teacher, and she's trying to get them into a clear mind state, peaceful state of mind. And she's reading this meditation. I said, throw it away. What? How can I lead the meditation if I throw it away? And I said, just throw it away and just trust. We need to trust that we know it's coming from ourself, our own divine light. And I said, just open your mouth and let the words come out. So the first words were a little bit shaky, and then she just did. And when she finished it after about 15, 20 minutes, she said, oh my gosh, I had no idea what was coming next.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of it, is getting people to trust, whether it's in a meditation or trusting their angels, trusting themselves that they'll pick up on these messages, that they'll pick up on the guidance, and trusting that the words will come when you're leading a group, as you do often. And I think that what you and I and Annette have is we've had years of a validation and experience to know that we just trust now. I'm sure it was for you two as well, but for me, it was certainly shaky in the beginning because I didn't trust myself. And the more I've gone down this path, the more I realize we're designed for this. We're all designed for this. We're all equipped for this. It's just learning to quiet the mind so that you can feel, as you were just saying, Rosemary, that guidance from within, that beautiful inner wisdom that's there, and that trust. But, that's another thing, is I ask the angels to help develop that trust.
Yes.
Give me more confidence, but more clarity. Not just blind trust, but help me really pick up on your guidance and understand more clearly the messages. Because I've had instances where I've misunderstood their guidance. They will clear that up in a heartbeat when you need to know. It's not uncommon for me to get messages at 3 a.m. saying, this is what we really meant, and it's like, oh, okay, I get it.
Now, ladies, Jenny has made a comment and Talissa has joined us, and I'd like to welcome Talissa, and I'll read out their comments. Jenny was saying she's got lots of energy, but the only time she lacks energy is when emotional stress takes over. And we've been talking about things that we can do to alleviate that. And Talicia says, good evening, glad to be able to tune in. Help me as I try to trust my angels instead of being upset emotionally.
I think what I've discovered from doing consultations for a long time and helping people with this exact thing is recognizing that we are only working with benevolent, loving beings, and that they have our best interest at heart, and they love us more than we can possibly comprehend as humans. It is so far beyond our imagination how much they love us. So it's a little easier to trust when you recognize they have your best interest at heart and love you immensely, and they see the bigger picture, and it's really easy for them to help us once we've asked, right? We need to ask because it's a free will planet. But once we've asked and they're allowed to step in, it makes a huge difference. And asking them to help you develop that trust also takes time. What I've recommended to people is, and maybe this has happened to you ladies too, because I don't know your origin stories about when you started working more with, angels and guides and trusting that inner wisdom and that sort of thing. But when years and years ago, when I was first going down this path, I would have things happen to me that I thought, there is no way my mind can explain that away. There is no way. And I would write these things down, these events that happened. And over time, those events kept growing and growing and growing, so that there was validation that was happening and I could see it. So that when my mind went into that, I don't trust that I'm getting this right. How do I know it's my mind versus, the guides? I could look at this list and see all the ways they've been helping you. And I just had a call from a woman this morning who said, I just want you to know, when you started telling me about coincidences and how they were helping, I didn't understand it at first, but now I see that. I see that those coincidences are actually them at play, assisting and helping. So that's the thing, is you start recognizing that help. And it's a little easier to get that mind out of the way when it's negating, because you realize, no, there is tremendous help and it is happening. It just maybe not be happening how and when I expected, but it is happening in the way that's best.
Can I just add to that? What I like to point out to people in a session is that they have 5 bodies. They have a physical body, an energy or etheric body, a mental body, an emotional body, and a spiritual body. And what's been taking place is that their spiritual body has got out of alignment because of the energy that's gone into that. And so they're thinking then with their emotional body. So what I ask the angels to do, and I work a lot with Archangel Haniel, is to ask that their bodies come back into alignment. And when they do, it's like what I visualize is the emotional body shrinking back because it's taking charge, they're thinking with their emotion sort of thing. And it comes back down, and then they're all in alignment. And as they come into alignment, then they become whole. One whole being. Mm-hmm. And then everybody is doing the right job, So their mental body is working, their emotional body, they're all working together as a group, becoming whole. And you become a whole person. Okay? And you can ask the angels to help you. Archangel Haniel is brilliant because I bring her into one of my sessions, and I say to her, for the client, this lady has huge betrayal or disappointment in her heart. Can you clear that negative energy, please? Or, it might be anything at all. It might be lack, it could be anything. And lack is usually, it's often in the solar plexus, or lack of confidence, self-confidence. Can you clear that, please? And it's quite funny, honestly, Robbie, because Archangel Haniel gives me these images. I'm not sure, I mean, I don't think this is real, but this is what she gives me. It makes me laugh. She has a basket and she goes into that person's chakra and she collects all the lack of self-confidence or whatever it is and puts it in a basket. And then she takes it down to her domain, to the angelic kingdom, where she has this beautiful white alabaster shelf. And she takes that energy, negative energy, which usually looks like, sometimes it can look like a stormy cloud, you know, and she puts this negative energy in little piles on this white alabaster shelf. Then she sets light with angelic fire and it vaporizes it. So nobody else could do it again.
Wow.
And my client then usually is laughing with me and she said, oh, I feel so much better now that's gone. But we can work with angels, as you say, like that, you know, and they will clear our negative energy. But it's very important that our 5 bodies come into alignment and we become whole again.
Yeah. Yeah. These are beautiful images that you're presenting, Rosemary. You're very good at teaching and giving examples and giving visuals, because I think the visuals do make a difference. Yeah. But you know, and I love that. I like to say, thank you for helping me release what's in my best interest to release. And thank you for, because you don't even need to know what that is, but it's just not serving you. And thank you for helping me open to what's in my best interest to open, because a lot of times we are, you know, stuck. But you know, I love the image that you just gave of the 5 working together, because they're all needed. You know, the ego is needed, the emotions are needed, the feelings are there, everything, it's all needed. It's just about being in alignment and balanced. And so that's a beautiful image. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome, because it really does make a difference to the person when their emotional body is not in charge of everything. You know?
Yeah.
And then that there's no stress then, because they're one whole person.
Yeah.
They can see the other side of the story. And I said to one young man, you know, I said, have a look at your boss who yelled at you this morning. Have a look now. What was wrong with him? Did he have a bad morning? Did he have a fight with his wife before he got to work? You know, it mightn't have been nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So if the bodies are in alignment, you can see the whole picture, the whole story then. It's much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that fear, you know, it's either fear or love. And it's that fear that sort of pulls that pulls us into those emotional attachments, you know, and these expectations and outcomes that we are resistant to certain things. And it's about letting go of that and getting everything back into that alignment again. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Robbie, your book would be so useful, I'm sure, if people are wanting to treat themselves for Christmas, or they're thinking, oh, what can I get so-and-so for Christmas? Angels in Waiting sounds a great idea. How are people able to, I take it it's available via
Everywhere.
Amazon?
Everywhere. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's available in an audio book, an ebook, a paperback book in Australia, the United States. It's actually all over the place. So it's, you know, and what I liked about the book, and we were very clear about this, we wanted to, you know, I could see where people were getting stuck with, you know, their careers or their relationships or their spiritual life, or, you know, family members that they were concerned about, or the state of the world, or we addressed all of that. And we addressed it with case studies of a compilation of people. We put this together so that they could relate to it. They, you know, we have all had loved ones who have passed over and we've grieved over it. That just is one example. But I wanted to make sure that it was for people who were just starting to become aware of angels and guides, and how to connect to them, and how to ask, and how to pick up their messages, and how to tell when they're getting guidance, and how to tell when they're getting help and not getting help in certain directions. But I also wanted this book, and so we made sure that this book also addressed people who already have those relationships, but they want to take it deeper. They want to make much, much stronger connections, especially to the guardian angels, because the guardian angels are the easiest to communicate with. So if you have never done this before, and every person has at least one guardian angel by their side, whether you believe in them or aware of them, they're there 24/7. But they're designed to be very, very easy to communicate. The guardian angels are. You don't need to go beyond that. But if you want to go beyond that and go into spirit guides, and I love that you're working with different archangels, I know both of you are, that's also there. And even we included in this book loved ones who have passed over. And how that you're not disturbing them, you're not keeping them from anything by communicating to them, and how they often will show up and assist, and how people who have passed over, loved ones, will also connect, and how they commonly connect with you. So I wanted to make sure that it was the broad spectrum, that it wasn't just people that this is new to them, or people who they're already quite seasoned at this. I wanted to make sure there was enough there for everybody, because that's the beautiful part. And I know that you both know this because you live it. I know, because I know you both well enough to know they are such a huge part of our life, and it has made a huge difference. And to me, that's the real game changer. When I started asking for assistance and allowing it slowly in the beginning, right? Because that's controlling, the mind doesn't want to let go of that. But as I started to allow them to help more, it changed everything, and it made things so much easier, because we don't need to be creating quite so much struggle and fear and pain that as a lot of us are doing. So it's available to us, but we have to ask. And so the book goes into detail about how to do that, and how, our loved ones, we even have and I'm sure you both encounter this as well. We have ancestors who come and check in on us and help us and protect us. You may not have ever even known them in this lifetime, but you might have a great great grandmother who's there assisting. So you've got a lot of help available to you, but it makes it a lot easier if you allow them to intervene, to step in more and assist even more.
Definitely. Yes.
And we're so fortunate these days because we have the choice of how we would like to read the book, and we can even listen to it.
Yes. I had to tell you this story. So this is the third book that I've done of mine that I've turned it into an audiobook. And I love the engineer, Bob. Shout out to Bob. He's just awesome. He's a great engineer. This guy is such a perfectionist. He can hear a pin drop in the other room. He's just, he's wired as a sound engineer to hear that stuff. So I come in and I'm reading my book. I'm reading Angels in Waiting, and I loved doing it. And I have to tell you, when I was doing the audio for Angels in Waiting, I would wake up in the morning before I drove to the sound studio, the sound studio. The energy was so strong. It was all I could do to not fall off my chair. I was just like, whoa. And then it stopped the minute I'm done reading, right? But it just continued like that the whole time. But so I go to Bob, and he's listening to all of this, and he's like, I don't know why authors, because this is what he does. He says, I don't know why authors just feel the need to put in an appendix. And I'm like, oh, Bob, I love my appendix in the book. It's so awesome because it talks about the different dimensions, and it explains it. The dimensions are not a place, it's a frequency, it's a vibration, and it goes into great. So my little appendix, my 3-page appendix, I'm just pumped about it because it explains in very specific detail, the first dimension, the second dimension, the third dimension, and where the archangels are as far as dimensions go, where we're headed, how we can assist. I'm excited. So Bob, I just insist that appendix needs to be read as well. And it was. So, because he was like, do we really need to read this? I'm like, yes, we really need this in here. So it's in there.
I looked up your book, and I saw all these things, it's available absolutely everywhere, because I thought, oh, gee, I have to get it, because it was published on the 26th of October.
Yeah.
And then I saw the audio, and I saw this, and I have a friend here who has a New Age shop, so I'm going to get on the phone to her and say, come on, we've got to get this book in and promote it. And yes, but it was just so many places that it's available,
And I think it's because it's right now is the time. We're here for a reason. We're here for a reason. We're not here to add more fear or angst or depression. We're here to add peace and harmony and hold that vision and hold that energy, plant those seeds, as you say, let the light shine on them. And so this is really also part of the book, is how you can assist, what you're here to do and how to do it, not just with your everyday struggles. And yes, there is a lot to be said for that, to help you move through that. And when you're triggered, that's a pop quiz, right? That's how you know where you still have to learn and how to get help with that, so that you're not relying on the mind to do it. You're getting tremendous assistance to do this, to move through these things. Because a lot of people know that where they're sabotaging, but they don't know how to move beyond that. And so this is about, well, then get that boost, get that assistance from the other side. It's so available to you, and you are so deserving of it. I think that's another thing people struggle with, is they think they don't deserve that assistance. And one of the things that I tell them is, well, we're being served by these angels and guides out of tremendous love. And every time we allow them to help us, that allows them to grow, because they're serving out of love. So it's a symbiotic relationship. It's this beautiful win-win. So ask away, big, small, vague, specific, as often as you want, but you must ask. So, but what would you say to that, Rosemary, about when people, because I get this quite often, where people think they don't deserve to be helped, or that the angels aren't going to help them, that they just don't feel worthy?
What I look at is in their bodies, and I have that gift was given to me, is where they picked that up and how old they were. And very often they could be 7 years of age or even 13. And Mum could have said to them, "Oh, you're stupid. What did you do that for? Don't do that," because she was tired and everything else. And so that needs to be cleared. So if they ask the angels to clear that thought when they picked it up, occasionally, not very often, but occasionally it could be from another lifetime that they carried around to this lifetime. But if they ask for help to clear the thought originated, that's gone into the cells of their body, I ask them to feel their body. Where is it in your body that you don't feel good enough? You don't deserve that. Because when it was said to them when they were young, it was like a hit. And they might have got it into their solar plexus, or their heart. And they've got to ask, where do you feel that you don't deserve it? Then you ask the angels' help. Well, I work with Haniel to help the person remove that out of their body. And once they let that go, their life is different. I work with a young girl for years, because she was sexually abused and she didn't feel good enough because nobody else at school was, and she'd been sexually abused for years. And we worked on that for her to let that go. And with the angels' help, with her knowing that that is what happened, to let it go. She had to just let that go, that experience, because I said, you see, you've had that experience. And I know now you're going to help others who've had a similar experience. Because you can say to them, I know how you feel. And she does. She's fine. And so we can use our experiences for good. We've learned a lot, and we can help others grow in the light and work with angels or their guardian angel, whoever. Yes.
Now, you two ladies have done just that this morning. Talissa has said, thank you for the advice, and I will be asking the angels to come forth more plainly and to connect with my spirit and to connect with me spiritually more.
Thank you. And she brings up a very good point. I'm glad that you read that comment and that she said that, because I think people expect to see them and hear them. And when they don't see them and hear them, they think they're not being responded to, or they're not being listened to. And every single person is clairsentient, where you feel with your body, you feel in that solar plexus, that gut, right? That sixth sense. You can feel it with your body. Some people get goosebumps or tingly feeling. Every person is clairsentient. Some people have learned to develop that intuition and that feeling much more strongly, but don't expect to see them or hear them. That's really not something that is very common, especially to have all of those, to see, hear, and to feel. But everybody feels it. So you can ask your angels and guides to thank you for helping me feel it more strongly. Thank you for helping me develop that connection more strongly so that I feel that. Thank you for helping me develop my intuition more strongly, and to know that you're there. And I think sometimes people just need to be reminded, and that's where, and I love the beautiful angel statue you have, Rosemary, on the side of you, behind you. Sometimes it's nice to just have a statue or a picture of an angel to remind you that they are walking by your side 24/7. You are never without the presence of an angel. You just may not be aware of it, but they're there. The guardian angels there from your first breath to your last breath. So some people just need a little reminder. And I'm like, well, most people on the planet believe in angels, and actually quite a high number of people have believed that they have been saved from harm by an angel. And so but they forget. So I've got statue. I'm sure you both do too, because we all work extensively with angels. But there's statues all over. And Annette, I have a beautiful little angel Christmas ornament on my tree that you gave me years ago. Thank you very much. But it's just such a beautiful reminder, not just of the angels, but of you too.
Lovely. We're very blessed, aren't we, when we get little gifts from people, because then when we're using them, we think of those people come to mind more. It's wonderful, the connections.
Yeah. And that's like a chocolate fairy. She just leaves chocolate all over the house, a little Hershey Kisses on your pillow, you open the cupboard and there's a surprise, and that's left a little piece of chocolate for me. So yes, we are so blessed, so blessed.
I just would like to give a little tip that to keep your intuition sharp, keep your pineal gland clean and bright and shiny by drinking plenty of clean, fresh water. Okay? It's really good for your intuition. Keeps your pineal gland shiny.
Yeah. If you have water that has a lot of chemicals in it, we've talked about this earlier today, it calcifies that pineal gland, and so it's important to get that. I was going down to a fresh spring and getting all my water to drink, because it was so important to keep that pineal gland, that it's like an antenna, right? That little connection stronger, and not let water we take for granted. But the more you can have clean water, the better off it is. Can I also throw out there that the intuition is something, and that's what I also covered that in Angels in Waiting, because your intuition is really a very important guidance system that we have. And a lot of people haven't really developed it as much. And I love this analogy of, you go to the gym to work on the muscles in your body and to get that strength and build that muscle. And meditation is like going to the gym for your mind, building that intuitive muscle. So the more we learn to calm that mind down through meditation, through learning how to quiet that busy, chatty mind, the easier it is to feel that intuition and that inner guidance, that inner wisdom.
I do think it's very important at the moment to stay with like-minded people in a group and meditate, particularly when people are talking about fear and whatever's going on in the world. But when you're with like-minded people, it raises your frequency. It makes it easier for you to be positive. And of course, we live in a world with a law of attraction, and what we think we attract to ourselves. But do keep good company, people who meditate. I know I have a friend who's moved to the country, to Woolgoolga. I can't hardly say it, Woolgoolga, and way up near Queensland somewhere. Anyway, so when she rings me now, she rings me once a week, we set a time. We don't just chat, we meditate together. I light the candles, calling the angels, calling Archangel Michael, because he's my friend, and I work with him all the time, having met him in person and in Hawaii. Anyway, so we spend at least 15 to 20 minutes. I'll lead the meditation, or sometimes she'll take over, and we meditate on the phone together. It's great.
Yeah, that's beautiful. But it does make a difference when you have two or three people, especially three or more, meditating together. It really amplifies things. And that's one of the things that I do miss. COVID, I used to have a group that we would meditate with all the time. And oh my gosh, the energy was so strong when you got all those people together meditating, and it didn't need to be that many of them. You could have 6 or 7 and it was still dramatic. But you could see the energy. It was amazing. And that's just an easy way to increase that intuition, to increase your frequency and your vibration, because we're constantly either raising or lowering that vibration by the people we're around, what we're drinking, the water, what we're eating, what we're thinking, what we're watching, what we're reading. It's constantly raising or lowering. And I think a very quick way to get it up is to get that vibration frequency up more to the love-based frequencies is with like-minded people. Like you said, Rosemary, that's so easy and it's so uplifting.
Yeah. And I've got another little thing I'm doing at the moment. When I go shopping to get the groceries, and I go to the supermarket, I say, I hope to leave this place with a higher vibration than when I arrived. So I'm very aware of how I leave the place. Okay? So that means I feel my feet on the floor to stop the thoughts going on, and be very present. Bring the angels in, higher frequencies in, before I go into the supermarket.
Wow, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another way we can bring peace to the world.
Yeah.
To think, aha, am I leaving this place in a higher vibration for being here? Or am I lowering it with my negative thoughts?
Yeah. And then that mindfulness, that real mindfulness about being present and quieting the mind and having that intention and asking for assistance to do that. That's a beautiful practice. I'm going to start doing that. I never even thought of doing that before I walked into the store. I got my list and, it never even occurred to me.
That's all separation. When I do that, I look at people and I become one with them because there's no thoughts going on.
Yeah.
And you realize we're all part of humanity.
Yeah.
We're all one.
Yeah.
And you smile. And of course, I'm that age now. I always comment on babies. Oh, isn't she beautiful? Oh, look at her. How old is she?
I know. Yeah.
And, but you smile at people. And it's genuine. And I have to have a walker now. And so I have a walker going through the store, with my little basket in the walker. And it's just beautiful to think, part of all this, when we let the thoughts go by being present, I teach that you've only got to be connected to one of your senses, either the sense of seeing, sense of hearing, taste. But, look, one day I was lost in my thoughts and I heard as clearly as anything from the angels, feel your feet on the floor. Feel your feet on the floor. Oh, I said, I'm sorry, sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you just feel your feet on the floor, and I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
The thinking stops. And you can be part of wherever you are. And as you said, Robbie, there's so many different frequencies, you know, and there's different life forms to me in different frequencies, you know.
Yeah.
I saw a fairy once, only once, and she was there in front of me, you know, and she got as much surprise as I did when I saw her.
You caught her off guard, huh?
I did. She had this beautiful blues, gown on and long flowing hair. She was beautiful. And I looked her up in a fairy book. I've forgotten her name now, but she was a particular kind of fairy. But I'd love to walk out in my garden and see fairies. You know, I know they're there. And perhaps one day I will, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just about how present we are. We can be part of the tree. It's the same life force in that tree that's in us. We can be part of the sky, part of the universe. It's just, all we've got to do is connect to one of our senses, take a nice deep breath and be present. And the world's the most beautiful place.
Yeah. I love this. The older I get, yes, babies are more dear to me than anything, and watching them grow. But I'm also learning how to find the awe and wonder in the simplest things. And just the clouds sometimes are breathtaking. And I have to tell you, what has just stopped me in my tracks is watching birds fly. We just are so distracted by so many things. We just don't see these beautiful things happening, you know, whether they're flying in a V or they're flying in these big, huge flocks, you know, within inches of each other, and nobody's touching. I mean, there's just miraculous leaves are so miraculous. I have such a passion for trees, you know, and birds. It's endless. But I don't know if it's just that you get older and you have more. You go back to what little kids had, right? The awe and wonder of the simplest things. We come back to it again. Yeah. Watching a baby grow, watching them find their hand, you know, when their knees operating, those cute. I have a niece that had a baby recently, and the first time I saw this baby, I hadn't seen a baby for a while up close where I got to really hold it and be with that baby. I was just staring at his little hand. It was just such a miraculous thing, watching that perfect little hand, those little long fingers and toes. Oh, just took my breath away. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Robbie and Rosemary, Talisa has found your suggestions wonderful. She's very, very grateful because she's going to a meditation event tomorrow. So she's going to be aware of wishing to leave the situation in a better place. Well, and I've noticed both of you, your countenance, you're happy ladies anyway. You are glowing at the moment, and I'm sure the conversation. I mean, how can we be anything else when we're talking about angels and fairies and the good that we can do in the world?
Yes. It's very, very simple. As we become present, we connect to our heart.
Yeah.
Become one with everything. And we become one with the angels too, you know.
Yeah.
Part of the universe. It's wonderful.
Yeah. I think what we've all learned how to do, and I know it certainly took me a while, is learning how to use that mind as the powerful tool that it is, and not allow it to, not that I'm at 100% at this, but I'm certainly better than I was years ago when I was really stressed out and I allowed that mind to just have its way with me, right? Just beat me up like a rag doll. And so I think that we've all learned how to use that mind more powerfully. Put your feet on the ground and be present and be mindful rather than just being carried off and distracted, which a lot of us we're just not in the practice of doing that. And it is a lifetime practice. And that's the beauty of meditation. It gets you to quiet that mind down and learn how to keep bringing it back, because that's just its way. It'll just go off. It's not if, it's just how long can you go before it just goes off again, trotting around, and just learning how to become more conscious of when you're operating from fear or negativity, and deliberately shifting into a more love-based response. And I know that what's worked for me is gratitude. And I know that, Annette, you're a big proponent of gratitude, but it's just when I have a challenging situation and I've asked the guides and the angels to help me with this, I want to move beyond this. I don't want to be triggered, and I want to grow beyond this. I know this is coming to me as a learning opportunity. And so what they've helped me do, the angels have helped me shift into gratitude for this challenge, recognizing, okay, I may not like it, but I accept that this is happening. And so I find actually, they've told me to find 2 things about whatever that challenge is that I'm grateful for. If I'm listening to something like barking dogs that are, at some point, my mind just, tends to want to go into that negativity about this barking dog that's barking incessantly. They're like, okay, find 2 things that you're grateful for. Okay, one, I can hear, I have a beautiful home that I'm in, so that I am in a neighborhood, that I am protected and taken care of. And that, as you both well know, when I start shifting into that gratitude, those thoughts, you just feel this shift happen. It's this energy that just comes into you and changes what's happening here in the mind, and you can just feel that that higher frequency, that higher vibration. You can feel yourself being lifted up into that, and it's quick and it's immediate, and it will work, because you can't keep, if you're finding something to be grateful for and you're really feeling it and thinking it, it's just going to shift you. It's going to change you. You're going to be in a different place.
Can I just add to that? How I use that, say the dogs are barking, right? And what I teach is, what is the emotion that comes up in you? Is it frustration or anger? Okay. Then you say, oh my gosh, thank you. I'm very grateful to the dogs because I'm releasing some old anger now.
Yeah.
They've brought it up in me to let it go. Angels, please, Archangel Haniel, take it away. This anger. The dogs brought that up. Thank you, dogs. I've got that much less anger in the cells of my body now.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so you're really grateful that the dogs barked to help you release the anger.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
So whatever emotion comes up from somebody, look at it, oh my God. Because often it's your partner who will trigger you. And he's triggered you to bring it up, right?
Yeah.
And so, and of course you don't know that at the time, he's just sort of angry, But I remember once when I first married John decades ago, walking around the block. And he said, what are you doing? I'm walking around the block, getting rid of my anger. I've got anger, that you brought up. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity to grow here. Yeah.
So that's another way to use the gratitude, and you feel very grateful, sort of thing, to that person or the animal or whatever it is, because things have just come up so that we can grow, so we can let them go.
We didn't even know that was a problem until you get triggered, right?
That's right.
And then you start seeing the pattern. You start seeing here's something I discovered. I was being triggered by a particular type of behavior, and I realized, I'm like, why is that bothering you? And then I realized, oh, I inherited that. That's a particular I'm not going to say mother or father, but that is definitely what they would be irritated by. It doesn't bother me, but I didn't know that. It was just this unconscious response that I had been taught. So that's another thing is you start noticing when you're triggered, because I think that's about becoming more mindful of how you're living and just choosing to have that awareness and then to shift out of it with gratitude. Okay, now I can let go of that. Don't really need that anymore. So thank you for bringing that to my awareness.
Thank you.
I've been expressing that with a couple of my grown sons who might find themselves in a situation where they're very angry about it, and I have said, look at what these people have been able to show you. Be grateful for what they have given you, and how fortunate are you. Yes, you're moving on. And I know with me personally, Robbie, I've learnt that over time, that people will say, oh, but aren't you hurt? And it's like, well, it's my choice whether I want to feel hurt or not. And in actual fact, I feel gratitude because I've been able to believe in myself more. I know how I've acted. I've acted in good faith. Whether it's seen that way by someone else is their situation, not mine.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's there for them to grow. I don't need to take on their life lessons, right? I don't need to be stepping into their classroom unless I choose to, because I won't accept it and I have resistance to it. But it's recognizing everybody's learning. We're all equal as souls. It's just that some souls have more growth than others. And so it's about honoring the methods, the pace, the lessons that others are learning. And that comes back to, the angels and guides are honoring our choices. And we might, like I said earlier, be creating a lot more pain and struggle than when it was ever intended by our soul, but they honor our choices. And that's why they do not intervene, because they recognize that, it's part of the learning process. And pain it's a powerful teacher, and it's a powerful catalyst. There are certainly easier ways to learn things, but you're going to learn it one way or the other. And it's a lot easier to learn with their help. They can help you see things more clearly and move beyond them and release these things. But yeah, it's part of the learning process. So I know that, sometimes you will get souls who choose to come in and experience addiction. Because they want to experience powerlessness, or they choose. When I used to volunteer with my sister down in the Seattle area, we would help with the homeless, and I would see some really beautifully evolved old souls who were living as homeless alcoholics in the street. They had no idea, that they are these old souls, but I could see them assisting other people. They would hand the socks to them. They would make sure that that person got the coat or whatever. So you never know why someone is here, what they're learning. And we're here to not judge their journey and not judge them, but to hold them in love while they learn to love themselves, or they don't learn to love themselves. But we are here, especially with our love, our children, to not judge them, but to love them. And even when they feel like they're broken, it's not enabling bad behavior or rescuing. It's about respecting that they're learning it the way they need to.
That would be a whole new show, Robbie, about rescuing. We as parents, we love to do it, and yet, we have to stand back.
So you know what, Annette, this is where I like to ask my angels to help me be the best mother I can be, the best partner, best grandmother, whatever, and to help me find peace with whatever choices my loved ones make. And it's amazing how you will learn to find that peace and acceptance while they're learning what they need to. And it's a lot more powerful coming from, trying to do it by myself versus having help from the other side with these beautiful beings who are just downloading peace, so that all of a sudden what was triggering me before or may not have been the happiest moments, I'm just now at peace with it, you know.
That's a very good comment. Very wise. Thank you. Well, we've come to the end of our show, ladies. I feel that we could talk forever and ever.
So, yeah.
Definitely.
I would like to thank you ever so much. What a high to leave the show, my show, on for this year. And there are lots and lots of shows on Angel Heart Radio. So for our audience, don't feel that just because I'm having a well-earned rest in January, and so are my guests, it doesn't mean that you won't be able to share with us. And through technology, aren't we so fortunate? Robbie, you have a newsletter that people could subscribe to.
Yeah, I try to put a lot of helpful information out, and my guides and angels pretty much direct what they want me to write about. They know better than I do what people need right now. And sometimes I have to say, really, this is what they need again? And they're like, yes, they do again. So I'm like, okay. But yes, so if they go to my website, holzwellness.com, HOLZWELLNESS.com. There's a lot of information up there that's free, whether it's about healing, whether it's about connecting to angels. There is a lot of information, and they can sign up for my newsletter that will start back up again after the first of the year.
Wonderful. That's brilliant. Thank you, thank you. And Rosemary, people can reach out to you as well.
On Facebook, if they would like to ask me a question, I'll be only happy to answer their questions and, yes, help them. I'd love
And
that.
something tells me that we three need to get together at some stage next year as well.
Do you know what? I want to thank you, Rob. I've been told by Spirit or the angels to put on audio my journey to meet when I went and met Archangel Michael in Hawaii in person. So I've done that, put it on. But in listening to you, what I know I've got to do now, I've got to make an audio version of my book.
Yes, yes, yes.
And my mind, I've got to quiet my mind. Racing. So it would be lovely that next time we're on together, I can say, well.
Oh, I think you'd be fabulous at it. You've got a beautiful voice for that. But I think you'd be surprised how much fun it is. But
Yes.
how much energy is put in that book, that ebook, you know? I know it's there in physical form, but also when the physical books, but yeah, so just have them duct tape you to the chair, Rosemary, so that you can sit up while you're doing it. Yeah. Oh, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, girls, very, very much. I love you lots.
Love you too. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody. It has been an absolute delight. Much love. Bye-bye.
Much love. Blessings.